Looking for ways to keep the kids entertained while traveling? Netflix Games lets them jump into fun, creative adventures at no extra cost. Everything's unlocked with your Netflix membership. From Paw Patrol Academy and Lego Duplo World to Barbie color creations and World of Peppa Pig, there's something for every little explorer. And you don't need Wi-Fi. Kids can play anytime, anywhere. Visit netflixfamily.com/travel tips for all your kids' holiday entertainment.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana makes car selling fast and easy from start to finish. Enter your license plate or VIN and get a real offer in seconds, down to the penny. If you accept, Carvana will come pick up your car from your driveway. Or you can drop it off at one of our car vending machines. Either way, you get paid instantly. It's fast, transparent, and 100% online. Car selling that saves your time. That's Carvana.
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
I am Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's an e-commerce store owner, best-selling author, podcast host, and real estate investor, no other than Mr. Jason VanDevere.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here with you, Daniel.
Welcome, Mr. Jason. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Yeah. So I'm Jason VanDevere. I just wrote the book Dream Driven, the step-by-step process to discover your perfect business idea and launch it this year. And it's the things that I've learned from starting several businesses of my own and then having the opportunity to interview dozens, even over hundreds of entrepreneurs on my own podcast and put it into a nice framework so hopefully somebody else can start their own business as well.
Yes. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And hoping for more and more empowering books like this to come, Mr. Jason.
Yeah.
And the title is Dream Driven. Is an entrepreneurial world often obsessed with hustle culture. Why did you choose to center the concept of a dream as the most important fuel to starting a business?
Yeah, I love it. So right at the beginning of my book, I break down two different approaches to entrepreneurship, especially when somebody's trying to discover their perfect business idea. And one would be the dream-driven approach, and the other would be what I call the easy money approach. And I think lots of people follow this easy money approach, and the easy money approach is when somebody's wanting to start a business, they think, what business will earn me the most amount of money the easiest, right? And they scour the market for the perfect product or service that can earn them the most amount of money, the easiest, and that's what they launch. And the problem with that approach is that starting a business is hard. It's just hard. I've experienced that. All the entrepreneurs I've had on my show, every one of them has run into challenges. And if you don't have a bunch of desire behind your business idea, if the challenge is greater than that desire, then you're going to give up when the challenge presents itself. Versus a dream-driven approach is the entrepreneur is going to scour their heart and figure out, what do you really want to do with your life? And then they're going to create a business that makes that possible. And it gives them so much more drive to push through, because if the challenge arises, their desire is so much larger that they'll keep pushing through to make it happen. So I'd really encourage people, rather than scouring the market for this perfect widget to sell online, what if you scour your heart to figure out what business idea is going to light a fire inside of you, so you have the drive and the motivation to push through all the challenges that are very likely going to arise. And then it does help them actually validate with the marketplace that it is a winning business idea. But we have to make sure that there's a big enough fire inside the entrepreneur first.
Very well said, Mr. Jason. Truly empowering. Many people feel a disconnect between their personal passions and a viable business idea. How does your framework help bridge the gap to discover a perfect idea that both personally fulfilling and economically sustainable?
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of break that down into two. The one is the personally fulfilling, and the second is that it's viably sustainable, right? You have to be able to earn money. I think to figure out if there's enough passion behind it is I encourage people to dream every single day. This is something that I do. This is what I encourage my clients to do. I take 10 minutes every day and I dream. I pace around my basement. I put on some music that inspires me and I just dream about the future life that I would love to have. And there's no limits on the dreams, that they're not things that I necessarily have to do. I just let my heart speak to me of what would I love to do with my life. And it really makes things clear so that I know what I want to do with my life. And when I'm working with entrepreneurs, I always say their business should be the means, not the end. Your business should be the means, not the end. And what I mean by that is the dream lifestyle that they want. That should be the end. And then their business should be the means to create that. Unfortunately, lots of entrepreneurs, they flip-flop those and they make their business the end, and they often succeed. And then their business completely overtakes their life. They're working tons of hours. They're a slave to their business, probably the same business that they started because they wanted to free themselves. So that's how you're going to find the business idea that's really going to light the fire in you, is you need to start dreaming every single day. Second part of that question, does that all make sense? Want me to dive into the second part of the question?
Makes sense. Go ahead for the second.
Yep. So second part would be you got to make sure it's viable. And I break that into two components. You have to make sure that your product or service solves a quality problem or just some sort of problem that the market has, and that the people are willing to pay for that. So to make sure that it solves a problem is I would recommend using either beta testers or focus groups. You need people to try out your product or your service to make sure it successfully works. With my planner business that I launched years ago, I had focus groups, and maybe we can even talk about that if you think your listeners would be interested. My book, I had 42 beta readers read it and give me feedback chapter by chapter. That way I could get all the bad feedback up front when I can tweak the design and fix any issues it has, rather than launching a product and getting terrible reviews after it's launched. But that'll only tell me if it's a good product or service that solves a problem, but then I have to make sure people are willing to pay for it. And I believe the best way to do that is through pre-selling it. If people aren't willing to buy it up front, I don't know if they're going to be willing to buy it after I launch. You know, some people say customers vote with their wallet. People can tell you it's a great idea, but if they're not willing to pull money out of their wallet and pay for it, it's probably not proven to be a good idea yet.
Definitely. And what is the common misconception people have about what a dream business actually looks like? Do they often romanticize it, or perhaps underestimate its potential?
I think they underestimate how great it is that you can have. I think they might not believe that it's fully possible to have a business that you truly love. But I think the biggest misconception people have is they think the business is the end, when the business isn't the end. It's the lifestyle that the business is going to create. Because if you make your business the end, most of the time that's not the lifestyle somebody actually wants, to be working around the clock. So you need to have that dream lifestyle as the end goal and your North Star to help you make decisions throughout your entrepreneurial venture.
Definitely. And on the process and methodology, Mr. Jason, your book promises a step-by-step process. Can you walk us through the very step someone should take if they have a general desire to start a business, but absolutely zero idea what it should be?
Yeah. So depending on the business, the book's going to kind of lead them throughout multiple steps. But the first step that every entrepreneur should take is you need really good mentors. So a mentor of mine told me when I was starting my business, he said, Jason, look, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? So whenever you want to launch a business, the best way to do it is find somebody who's already started a business similar to the one you want and ask them how they did it. Boom, there's your straight line. So one of the first things the book helps somebody do after they nail down their business idea and they validate it's a winner is it teaches them 8 ways to get in contact with successful business owners who have done something similar to what you want to do. And then you can ask them how they did it. And you can learn proven strategies rather than you using trial and error to try things out. You can get in touch with these people. And if it's helpful, I'd be happy to even break down some of those strategies, but I'll let you lead wherever you think might be most helpful for your guests.
A key fear for many is that the ideas is already out there. How many does your process help someone differentiate the ideas and find a unique angle in a crowded market?
Yeah. So during that validation process, if you're meeting with your focus groups, your beta testers, and you're meeting with actual customers, I think that's what's going to expose the unique angles of what problems are they currently having with the available solutions. I think as an entrepreneur, an easy misconception is that you can just guess and think you're going to discover it. But when you can get together with your ideal target customers and ask them, you're going to learn a ton of information. So one of my first businesses I started was a planner business. I designed this planner and launched it. It's a highly, highly competitive market. Everyone told me it was a bad idea to launch, but I really wanted to. So I started hosting these focus groups because a mentor of mine told me to. And just, I want to show you the power of what a focus group can do. I had pulled together 6 friends and family. I showed them my planner design. I thought my planner design was perfect up front. I thought it was going to be a waste of time to even have the focus group. But this focus group, it was scheduled for an hour. It went over 3 hours. People were sharing me the most helpful feedback. They were saying, look, Jason, this doesn't make sense. This is repetitive. I don't understand what I'm supposed to do there. This is too much writing. All of this incredible feedback, which at the time it seemed like a terrible thing to me. I was embarrassed that people were finding all these problems with my design, but it was so helpful because then I left that with a clear list of here's the things I need to fix, and my planner will be better than all the other planners out there. And I ended up hosting either 6 or 7 of those focus groups until they just started getting better and better. People started giving me less and less negative feedback until the last 2, it just worked. People were using it. It went smoothly. They were getting incredible results. And that's when I knew I had a product that worked better than my competitors, and I had the confidence to launch it.
What is your favorite low cost, low risk method from the book for testing a business idea before someone invests their life saving into it?
Yeah. To test the business idea. So we talked about focus groups. We talked a little bit about pre-sales. I think I would want to do at least one of the 2 of those. So pre-sales, even if you don't have an audience to pre-sell to, pull up your phone. You probably have like 1,000 contacts in there. I would start texting people you know. Hey, I'm launching this product. It's going to come out in a couple months. I thought you might enjoy it. If you'd be curious to get one of the first ones, go ahead and Venmo me $20 or whatever your product is going to cost. And use that as a gauge to see if people are willing to pay for it. Now, that will only show you if people are willing to pay for it, but you could theoretically have a terrible product. But if you sell it well, people will buy it. So you really should be coupling that with focus groups or beta testers, because that'll show you whether it's a quality product or service. The pre-sales will show you if people are willing to pay for it. Now, if for some reason you can't do either of those things, you can run surveys. If you're looking for something that's cheap, low cost, the website that I love to use for this is called PickFu. That's PICKFU. PickFu. You can run cross tests for really cheap, maybe like 80 cents a person to fill it out, and you get the results within a day. Like when I was choosing a cover for my book, I ran surveys and had a couple hundred people vote on covers. They would tell me which one they liked the most, why they liked it. I could choose the type of people that were surveyed, and in less than an hour, I had the results, and it gave me so much clarity into what would work rather than launching a product and thinking, well, I hope I chose the right one.
The subtitle says, launch it this year. That's a bold promise. What does a timeline look like? Is it full-time, a 40-hour week journey, or is someone realistically make progress alongside a day job?
Yeah. I think that's going to be a decision for the entrepreneur. I think a good way to do it is start it on the side until you've proven the concept and you're getting revenue, and then you can make the much smoother transition from your job to supporting yourself off of your business. But I know for myself, I quit my job before the business was going, and that's where I was at the time in life. I was single. I had very close to very little expenses. So I went all in. I would say, depending on the entrepreneur's vision and goals and resources, that's not exactly a one size fits all, but probably the most easy option for people is to start their business on the side until they start getting revenue and profits from it.
On mindset and overcoming barriers, what is the single biggest internal barriers that stops people from moving from dream to launch, and how does your system address it?
Yeah. So at each step in the process, it's going to address the mindset issues that start to come up. But I would say, like, overarching one, if I'm going to give you one, is helping people reframe how they might view the feeling of discomfort. One of the affirmations I tell myself a lot, and I have a chapter dedicated towards this, is as I call it, this is what growth feels like. When you're taking a risk and you're starting to feel nervous, you're stepping into the unknown, you don't know what's going to happen. Maybe you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed. I think most people, that's when they shy away and they think, well, I don't know what to do here. I've never done this before. When the reality is, this is what growth looks like. This is what it feels like. It's hard. It's challenging. It makes you nervous. If you're going to shy away from challenges, you're never going to accomplish anything. I think everybody wants to live this great life, right? Like, we all dream of living this epic life, but then we complain when we have challenges. And the reality is, if you want to live an epic life, you don't do it by doing what's easy. You do it by doing what's hard. And when you start running into these challenges within your business, you got to remind yourself, this is what growth feels like. Those challenges, they are not the enemy of you being successful. Those are the requirements of you living a great life. And it's just this reframe of, this is what growth feels like. It's hard. It's overwhelming. It's nerve-wracking, but that's where growth happens.
Mhm. So, Mr. Jason, as an e-commerce store owner, best-selling author, podcast host, and real estate investor, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Short term is focused on getting this book completely launched. I want to get on 100 podcasts, kind of like this one that I'm on right now. Short term goal that I'm focused on. Long term goal, within the next 2 years, I want to start hosting my own conferences. I've gone to a bunch of conferences over the years. I go to at least one live conference a year, and huge fan of them. I've learned a ton, met a lot of great people, but I'd like to start hosting some of my own.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Jason, and looking forward for more success. And
Thank
let's
you.
empower people all over the world through your talents. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is go find mentors who's already created the business like you want to start, and you have to find a way to learn from them. Whether you're going to cold call them, whether you're going to track down where they play pickleball at and show up there so you can meet them there, send them messages on LinkedIn, or somehow connect through a friend on LinkedIn who might know them. But you got to get in touch with the people who have done what you want to. They have all the answers to your problems, and I would make that the number one priority. They can give you the shortest line to the success that you want. And I'm going to add one more thing in. Buy my book, Dream Driven. It's worked for me to start multiple businesses, to create my dream lifestyle, and it's worked for others. If you're serious about wanting to use a business to create your dream lifestyle, this will walk you through finding the idea, validating it, and launching it, even if you don't have very much money to start it with.
Yes, definitely. And thank you for the advice, Mr. Jason. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Yeah, so obviously Dream Driven, I'm going to recommend that one, but a book that I'd recommend for other entrepreneurs, The One Thing by Gary Keller. It's been a super influential book to help me prioritize the number one thing to focus on.
And thank you for that recommended books, Mr. Jason. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please to listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 in first season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101, Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Jason, how does this process ensure that the business a person builds aligns with their desired lifestyle rather than becoming a soul-crushing trap?
Yeah, it's got to align with a dream. Just like the name says, the book is going to teach them the proper way to dream at the start and answer the question, what do you really want to do with your life? Because when you can find that, it lights a fire inside of you. We didn't really get into my personal story, but I had the opportunity to inherit and take over a 9-figure business. I walked away from it because I didn't have a passion, which most people, well, everybody told me was a bad, crazy idea. And I started a little business from nothing, but I had a fire inside of me because I had clarity on the answer to the question, what do you want to do with your life? I knew this is what I wanted to do with my life. And when you can find that perfect business idea that lights a fire inside of you, it makes everything else easier. Because if you have enough, if your desire is greater than the challenge that's in front of you, you're going to figure it out. But if you don't have very much desire behind the business idea, you're just going to quit as soon as you run into a challenge, which I can tell you up front, you're going to run into challenges. So you want to have a giant amount of desire.
If you could have your readers master just one skill from entire process, what would it be and why?
Yeah, dream every single day. If you dream every day for 10 minutes, it'll completely change your life. I fully believe that we become what we dream about. Our dreams define our life. If you dream every day about getting drunk with your friends, your life is going to look like that. If you dream about writing a book or starting a business, you're going to be put on that trajectory. If you dream about nothing, then you're not going to have any meaningful goals. You can still have goals without dreams, but they won't be aiming at anything bigger than the goals. And when you don't have meaningful goals, you end up in what I call survival mode. You're just working to survive. Your goals aren't aligned to anything bigger than themselves. So it's not a very fun place to live in. But if you do have dreams, you can have meaningful goals aimed at creating those dreams. And rather than living in survival mode, you can live with purpose. And whether you want to start a business or do anything else big with your life, I want everyone to live with purpose. And dreaming every day will help give you that.
Mr. Jason, launching is one thing, sustaining is another. How does being a dream driven provide a resilience needed to navigating the inevitable challenges after the launch hype fades?
Yeah. You probably know with your business is this like emotional roller coaster where you have good months and you think like, I'm a business genius, I can do it all. And you have bad months where you think I have no clue what I'm doing. But you need the clarity on, I'm going to keep going back to like the title of it. You need the dream that's driving you forward to pull you to take the actions, especially when you're starting it. And if you want, we can talk about the methods of how you're going to start marketing this when you're first starting. But it's just going to take a lot of pushing. And especially if you're not coming with a lot of money or resources to bring to the table, it's going to take a lot of effort. Not necessarily it has to be a lot of effort, but it's going to feel like a lot because it's going to be most likely new types of activities that you're going to be taking. They're going to push your comfort zone, and you need a lot of desire behind it to help fuel you into pushing your comfort zone as much as you need.
Mr. Jason, finally, what is the first sign that someone is truly ready to start this journey? What is the spark you've seen in the successful people who have been followed this path?
Yeah. So I would say you gotta have to have the business that lights a fire inside of you. And I gave in my book, there's these 3 L's that I look for to help me decide, hey, is this an idea that I really want to pursue? And the 3 L's, the first one is a longing. You have to have a giant longing to make this business happen. And the test that I do to figure out if I have enough desire behind the business idea is I call it the first alarm test. Am I willing to get out of bed on my first alarm to make this dream happen? If the answer to that is no, then you need to find a different business idea that lights a bigger fire inside of you. But when you find the right business, you'll be able to say, yep, I want this bad enough. I'm willing to get out of my bed on the first alarm. Second is your business idea needs to be lifting. Whenever I'm setting a goal or starting a new business, I want to set a goal that's so big that I cannot achieve it, that the goal is more than what I'm currently capable of accomplishing. That way, the only way I will accomplish that goal is if I force myself to improve. There's this quote I love from Tony Robbins. It's not about the goal. It's about growing to become the person who can achieve the goal. And this business idea should lift you to another level. If you already know how to start the business that you want, that's not a lifting business. That's not even a goal. It's a to-do list item. A goal should be something that will stretch you and lift you to another level. The third thing that I look for is I want the business idea to feel light. Now, this one is a little bit harder to gauge. It's more of an internal feeling, but does the business feel light or does it feel heavy? And most time people can gauge this pretty well. Something that's light, it feels fun, even if it might be really hard. Like when I was starting my planner business, it challenged me more than anything else I'd done in my life, but it felt light. It was fun. It was freeing. Versus I was on a trajectory to take over my family's business, and it was a very straight, proven path to success, but it felt heavy. So those are the three things I would look for. If you can have a business there's longing behind it, it's lifting, and it feels light, I think now you're on the right track to take to the next step to start validating it in the marketplace.
Mr. Jason VanDevere, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your podcast, your books, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be on here with you, Daniel.
So where do people listen to your podcast, to your book?
Yeah. So if they go to Amazon, they can find my book, Dream Driven. My website is called goalcrazy.com, and that's goal like a soccer goal, GOAL crazy.com. I've got my planner was my first business, planner to help people set and accomplish their goals. My podcast is also called Goal Crazy. So wherever you listen to your podcast, if you search it, it'll pop up.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Jason VanDevere because of I said more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Mr. Jason, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
More to come, people. See you soon.